everyone, welcome in to another episode of the Inside Voice podcast. If you don't know me, I'm Jess. Nice to meet you. So glad you are here. If you have been hanging out with us for the last couple of weeks, you know that we are in resolution season and getting down to the wire, probably getting down to what people have been most looking forward to in this entire little series that we've been doing about goal setting. Before we begin, I want to share a little story with you because this is just so ridiculous. You know, years don't always start off right. They don't always start off perfectly. And I feel like I've been so clumsy lately. And as a former athlete, high school star, as a former sports player in high school in my tiny little town, where basically like everybody made the team. I've considered myself coordinated, but nonetheless, I was digging through the fridge, probably looking for a snack. And I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but have you ever clocked yourself with the refrigerator door? Because that's exactly what I did. It made me think of like, everybody wants that person that slaps the bad food out of your hand or like tells you, ooh, don't eat that. Or it's like Kevin Hart in that Elf commercial when he's like, you just ate. Literally, I'm in the fridge and like I'm coming out of the fridge, turning towards the stove at the same time. And we've got like the French doors. And as I'm like closing the door, I turn my head right into the freaking door. I hit it hard. There was like a bump on my forehead. It's still like a little discolored. Hopefully you can't see it. All is well. It's just been a little bumpy start to the new year. Let's just put it that way. If you've been with us for the last couple of weeks, you know that we've been setting a great foundation for ourselves to truly be successful with resolutions, rather than just jumping into a bunch of goal mumbo jumbo, throwing things at the wall to see if they stick. I wanted us to set a firm foundation for ourselves. And it started with us getting clear on our identity, okay? Who you are at your core. I'm telling you right now, with social media and with ads being catered to you and with entertainment in general and peer pressure, and there's a lot of like coulda, shoulda, woulda. There's a lot of what you should be doing, who you should be. There's a lot of like pushing you down a lane that maybe you were never meant to go down in the first place. You know what I mean? And so I think so often for so many of us, and I've experienced this with people, you don't even really know who you are and what your operating system is. You don't know what makes you tick. You don't know what lights you up. You don't know like what gives you joy, what your passion is, what your purpose is in life. And getting back to that identity, figuring out and discovering who you were made to be, who God created you to be, which by the way, is a masterpiece. We are told that in scripture. But getting back to that, I feel like is so important, especially these days when like, it feels like everybody's pushing you a certain direction. And AI, don't even get me started on that, you know? You can go down this rabbit hole thinking you've got your whole life figured out, and then it's like a whole lie because AI was just trying to appease you. In week 2, we talked about meeting yourself where you're at. Similar to identity, but more surface level. Like if we're setting like a concrete foundation, where you're at right now is kind of like the framing of this house that we're building, right? And so understanding who you've become over the years, understanding what habits you've picked up along the way, understanding tendencies or excuses that you've adopted along the way is incredibly important when it comes to setting forward on a new path with new goals, okay? So even last year, based on good things that happened to you or bad things that happened to you, you might have kind of found yourself in a groove that you never really wanted to be. And it can feel like you're stuck in a rut. It can feel like you've reached a point where there's just no progress anymore. So understanding how you got there and where you're at right now is a great baseline for the new year, meeting yourself where you're at. Last week, I hope was a little more fun. I wanted you to just go for it when it comes to any of the dreams that you have in your life. It can be dreams from when you were a kid. It can be dreams from your teenage years. It can be dreams that you just now have started to realize are actually exciting for you. Like maybe you've had this thing that's just been on repeat in your head for the last couple of years and you're like, that is something that I kind of think I want to do. Like that would be fun. Or man, I get really fired up when I think about that. Or I find myself, when I apply myself to those dreams, I'm like really engaged, maybe more so than I am in other things that I'm doing throughout the day or in my life. I wanted you to just write down anything and everything that came to mind of like what could be with your life. What do you envision for yourself? What gets you excited? If you didn't have to worry about money or anything like that, like what would you do? Where would you live? Who would you become? What would you wear? You know, like who do you want to be ultimately? How do you want to show up? What do you want this world to look like? You know, like write all that stuff down. So I hope that it was fun for you to just be a kid again, you know, and feel like there's no limits. There's no like the possibilities are endless for you. So I hope that that was a fun assignment. If you did not do it, now's a great opportunity for you to hit that pause button, go back, maybe refresh on that episode, or go get your homework done. Okay. It's okay if you didn't do your homework. I didn't set a deadline, but we are moving forward as a class, okay? So today we're actually going to set some goals, okay? And I hope that the work that you've been doing the last couple of weeks makes today so much easier than it's ever been for you. You might have found that when it came to setting goals, it was a lot of just like, yeah, that sounds good. Oh, this would be great. Oh, I expect myself to do this. And ultimately, you ended up setting some goals for yourself that were impossible to accomplish. You had no strategy whatsoever for them. You didn't even really know why you were setting those goals in the first place. And this happens. I'll be honest with you. I don't think this is the best time of year to dive right into resolutions. I feel like focusing on a few or maybe just one thing is really helpful. But man, coming off of the holiday season, which was so busy, having that weird week between Christmas and New Year's, I mean, what was anybody really doing at that point? You know, we were all couch potatoes in our sweatpants. And, you know, like you think about the winter, gosh, it's so cold and it's dark and the days are short and it's tough to even just get out of bed. You know what I mean? I look at my dog, Oliver, and like the last couple of days, because it's been so cold, like he will not come out of his cocoon. He's like, don't even, I'm good. I'm going to be right by the fire, you know, in the fireplace. Don't move me. We're all kind of like that, you know, like not just our pets. Side note, I know that it was like super cold across the United States this past weekend. So just thoughts and prayers for everyone who was affected by the crazy weather that was coming in. I know that it was very, very, very frigid here. I'm with you. And I hope that we are thawing out now. There's always that one, you know, there's always that one period, that one weekend, the one couple of days where it's just frigid anywhere you live in the country. So today we are going to be setting some resolutions, okay? We are going to be actually looking at 3 things that we're going to work on this year. Only 3. Now these are big categories, but I want you to hone in on just 3 things. I'm going to help you get them organized, okay? So taking that list that you put together, I had shared mine with you. I had written a bunch of things and some goals and stuff. We started on this page. Went through. I've done this a couple of times, so my like dreaming is like a little bit more concise because like I'm honing in on some things. Yours might be pretty chaotic. Yours might be a very long list, a very big spreadsheet of like everything that you have thought of, you know, like you just scribbled out everything. Love that. I'm so glad that you did that. I'm glad you allowed yourself to be messy in this process because that's what brainstorming is all about. Just throw it out there, right? But now we have to make sense of the chaos. So what I'm going to have you do is break down that entire glob of stuff that you wrote down into 3 categories. Okay, we'll work through each of them. Maybe the best thing to do is to like grab a highlighter, pick 3 different colors, and then just start going through and highlighting each thing as it pertains to these different categories. And since I'm a preacher's kid, all 3 of these categories start with P. Alliteration for the win. It's not just preachers and preachers' kids that do this. It's also like public speaking is just one of those things. Alliteration helps you remember. So the first thing that we're going to identify as we go through this clunky, awesome, beautiful dream list that you have put together, we're going to look for personal goals. Okay. These are things that pertain to you. So it might be health goals that you wrote down for yourself. It might be things like, okay, I want to get down to this weight on the scale. I want to get stronger in the gym. I want to eat better. I want to take better care of my body. This could be things like I'm making the doctor's appointment this year because I'm somebody that honors my body and takes care of my body, even if it's scary to go in for those appointments. Maybe it's I'm going to get a nutritionist. I'm going to figure out how to eat for my body. I'm going to figure out what works for me, how much I should be consuming calorie wise, what my macros should be, like I'm going to fuel my body with food rather than using food for comfort or anything else. It could be that you're going to be starting a workout program. So you wrote down, I work out 3 to 5 times a week. I run this many miles. I go to the gym. I have signed up for these classes. Like you wrote down things that you want for yourself on a personal level. I think health is such a big one, but it could also be like family and relationships. It might be my spouse and I go to counseling. We have weekly date nights. I'm engaged with my kids and I have one-on-one time with each of them, but also as a family, we do game night, or it could be I'm reaching out to that family member that I've been estranged to or with, and I'm going to do my part to fix it. If you want to go back and listen to Dealing with Difficult People, that's a series that we did in the fall that might be helpful. But mending relationships, maybe you're one of the things you wrote down is, as I look at myself for next year, I am somebody who cares about people and reaches out to them and engages with them. The personal goals can be mental goals as well. Like I want to take care of my mental health. So I'm going to therapy and I'm finally going to address the thing, whatever that thing might be for you. It might be, I'm really finding that I'm depressed after being on social media. So I'm going to set limits for myself. I've got a girlfriend that got herself a brick. Have you heard about this? It's a device that you put in your home and you have to like tap your phone onto it, but you have to like you tap it to use certain apps on your phone. And then like you tap to not use those apps. Like you can set parameters and time limits for yourself. Look it up. I'm not explaining it well, but essentially it's a device that helps you limit certain apps on your phone during certain times or in certain rooms in your home. But it's like a physical thing that you have to tap in order to get in and get out of those apps, which is a great way for you to help yourself if you feel like you're wasting time on social media, or if it's affecting your mental health, or if it's just not serving you the way that you need. And it doesn't have to be social media. It could be your streaming services. It could be whatever else you got on your phone or your device that you're like, I just can't be spending that much time on anymore. Maybe it's your phone in general. I've got the weekly report every single week telling me how much time I've spent on my phone. I'm right around the same time every single week. And I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but I'm consistent. It could be I do brain games to keep my brain healthy. I read more, like personal goals that you can set for yourself. So whatever color that is, pink, green, yellow, blue, whatever you've chosen, as you're reading through, highlight that in that color. That will be your personal goal color, okay? Let's just say it's blue. Then we're going to move on to yellow. Let's say you pick that for your professional goals. This is our next P in our big 3 that we're choosing. So as you go through, look for professional goals. This could be something directly related to your job, like I'm going up for a promotion. I'm pitching this project. I'm signing up for this. I'm going to this training class. I'm doing networking. I'm going to engage with more coworkers outside of work, or I'm going to engage with them more at work, or, I'm going to respond to so many emails every single day so my inbox doesn't pile up. These are professional goals that you have for yourself. It could even be something like, I'm going to maximize my income in my job, or I'm going to maximize my income with a side hustle or a part-time gig or something like that where I can bring more income in. This could be you actually taking PTO. That's a professional goal, okay? You actually taking advantage of the vacation time that your company will pay you to go on. Yes, Take that time for so many reasons. Don't let another year go by and you're either carrying over those hours because one day you're going to use them, or you lose them completely because your company doesn't have a carryover policy. Use your vacation. It's there for a reason, okay? Everybody will be fine without you. I don't care if you take the vacation just to sit at home. Like, take the vacation, okay? Get paid to do nothing. It could be a professional goal. I roped finances into this, but maybe this is the year that you finally sit down and you figure out a budget for yourself. So you're not scrambling every single month. Maybe this is the time that maybe you set some professional goals for yourself to get out of debt or to set up a retirement plan and maybe take advantage of some of the perks and incentives that your company has with a 401k or something like that. Those are professional goals. So I said yellow for that one. Okay, highlight those in yellow or whatever color you chose for your professional goals. Finally, we're going to go through and we're going to look for passion goals. Another P. We got personal, we got professional, passion goals. These are the things that light a fire in you. These are the things that feed your soul. These are the things that, man, you feel so alive when you're engaging with these things. So this is, for me doing this podcast, this is a passion goal that I have for myself. It's not the one that I've set for this year because I've already got it going, but it would have been categorized as a passion goal for myself last year, even though I didn't know I was going to be doing this podcast when I walked into 2025 last year, but it has become a passion for me and I really, really do love it. This could be you writing a book. This could be you taking a painting class. This could be hobbies. I think hobbies are important. I think hobbies are important for you to have as an individual, maybe as a couple as well. If you're in a relationship, as a family, you've got a hobby that you do. I also think it's really important for you to have individual hobbies, even if you have your immediate family and you're engaged in hobbies there. Like my husband is so into RC club or RC racing, remote control cars. He loves it. That is his hobby. That is his jam. If he could, he would make it his entire personality. It pretty much already is. Like he loves it so much. I don't know what my hobby would be. I like to read, but I would like to find something that I do outside of work, outside of even him. Like I'm very much supportive of his hobby, and I will join him for races and pit for him if he needs me to with those nitro cars. But otherwise, like that's his thing, and I think it's important for us to have those. So I'm gonna have to try to figure that out for myself. But I do have a passion goal set, and it's not a hobby. Maybe this is volunteering. Maybe some of the things that you wrote is like, hey, I volunteer for this organization because it's really important to me. I serve in my local church, or I serve with my church family. I'm connected and in as a member of a church. Maybe it's you spend more time with family. I think about my grandmother. She is 90 years old. I love spending time with her. But like similar to other relationships that I have, there has to be intentionality there. So making a point to go visit her once a month, every other week, whatever it is, like I got to put that on the calendar. Like I have to be strategic about it. It doesn't mean like, oh, I don't love her. I'm just showing up because I wrote it on the calendar. No, I love her so much that I'm prioritizing and putting it on the calendar. Changing your mindset with that is so important. But just finding things that spark joy, and maybe that's green. Okay, maybe that's the color you pick to highlight. So you've got your blue, which is your personal goals. You got yellow, which is your professional goals. Your passion goals are green. I don't know, I just picked green. Whatever color you picked, as you go through, start identifying what fits as a passion goal. What is something that just fills your soul? And I feel like a passion goal is also something that serves somebody else. I feel like that's also maybe like a little piece of the passion goal, is that it's got to be, well, I said hobbies. Hobbies could be something, that you engage with somebody else. I don't know. And that feels like an act of service in a way. But maybe some of those passion goals are an act of service, something where you are giving of yourself for somebody else. So now that you've gone through and you've highlighted different things, now we are going to get very specific, and we're going to pick one from each of those categories. It could be one specific thing that you wrote. It could be something that encompasses a couple of the things that you wrote that fit into that category. And then we're going to like divide those up into those 3 buckets. Okay. So again, we have gone through the mess and the chaos and the beauty that we wrote last week. We've highlighted in different colors the things that, that fit into a personal goal, a professional goal, and a passion goal. So now it's just a matter of compiling all of those things into those specific categories and then figuring out either a common theme in all of those things or something that matters the most to you. You know, like you've gone through and you're like, oh yeah, that sounded really good when I wrote it. I don't really care that much about it, at least not now, because this is more pressing. This is more urgent. This is really speaking to me and calling me right now. Okay. So you're going to have to figure out what that is for you. All right. What is going to, again, like we talked about at the beginning of this, what's going to move the needle? What is urgent? What matters the most to you in each of those categories? That is what you're going to funnel it down to. That's what you're going to filter it all down to. So that way we have just 3 goals that we're working for this year. Again, we don't want to overcomplicate things. We don't want to have so much happening and so much that we want to accomplish that we burn out before February, that we burn out before summertime even arrives, that we give up on ourselves completely because we just had too much at the beginning. The brainstorming was fun, and you can always go back to that list later on down the road. If you get going on these big 3 and you're like, I kind of want to throw something else into the mix, go for it. But don't overwhelm yourself at the beginning, because I promise you, just like going in and going too hard on that initial workout, first one back at the gym, and you haven't worked out ever or in a very long time, you're not going to go back if the first one is too hard, because you'll be sore, you'll be miserable, it'll leave a bad taste in your mouth, and then you find yourself just not going. The point is to get very specific on just 3, to not overwhelm the system. That way you actually stick to it, okay? So you've got 1 personal goal, 1 professional goal, and 1 passion goal. Now you can decide which one you want to attack first. You might start to see some patterns of like, okay, this 1 personal goal, I feel like if I can get this going and get good at it, it's going to make the other goals easier for me to accomplish. Or hey, my professional goal, if I can max out my salary or if I can get on a budget, then I can partake in the gym membership that I want for my personal goal, or I can partake in the hobby that I've been loving to get back to. Been really wanting to get back to eventually, that I've been loving and would enjoy more if I just had a little more, extra income to throw at it. Does that make sense? So you'll start to prioritize which one is the most important. Or, hey, here's a hack. Which is the easiest to attack? Which is the easiest to get momentum on? Don't overcomplicate it. Don't go for the hard one first. Let's build a little momentum, first. Let's start with one that maybe takes us 15 minutes a day rather than 5 hours. You know what I mean? I'll share what my 3 are, just if this might be helpful for you. So my big 3 this year, my personal goal is to read the Bible completely. I have read parts of it. I have sat in on a lot of sermons. I listen to a lot of sermon podcasts, but I have never actually read the entire Bible. I've read books, I've read chapters, never the entire thing. So what I did, I thought I brought it with me in here. I got myself a 1-year Bible. And for the longest time, I was like, oh, I'm not going to do that. I'm not a baby. But I got the 1-year Bible because it literally breaks it down into sections. And it's like broken down day by day. Here's what you read for January 15th. Here's what you read for February 7th. Like, that's what you read. And I'm going to read the entire Bible this year. And I'm committed to it. And it doesn't take long. And I'm excited about it. I also got a chronological one, which I thought would be really interesting, just to see what the grand narrative is through the entire scriptures. So that also made it fun. But yeah, that personal goal to read the Bible every single year, it started with me buying the 1-year Bible and committing to it. Habit stacking, finding a time in my day that made the most sense for me to read it. Okay, so in the morning for me, it's right on my bedside table next to my phone. So when my alarm goes off and I turn it off, oh, there's my Bible that I'm supposed to be reading. So I pick that up with my phone. I go into my office after I feed my dog. And like usually in the morning, I prep for the day. Like I go through email, I prep my shows for the day, I look for content, that kind of stuff. So taking an extra 15 minutes before I do that to read that section that's been assigned to me in the 1-year Bible just makes the most sense. And I got to tell you, I've been successful so far. Let me knock on wood. But yeah, just setting yourself up for success is also incredibly important. We'll get into that. I think our next couple of weeks, we should probably dive into how we make goals happen, maybe talk about habits and habit stacking. We can totally get into that. My second goal, my professional goal, was to match my salary on social media. So I have a full-time job. I'm a radio broadcaster. I host Taste of Country Weekend and Just on the Job. I'm a content creator for our brand Taste of Country and for my company Town Square Media. I love it. That is my 9 to 5. That is my full-time job. Outside of that, though, there's my dog with the jingle again. Gotta love it. Outside of that, however, I want to, gosh, he just scratches at that collar when he wants my attention. Ain't gonna get it. But outside of that, I mean, with this podcast and just with like my creative side, I want to build something on social media. And you can get paid for it. So it's an ambitious goal, don't get me wrong. But setting something ambitious like that for me makes me motivated to try to make it happen. So I did set something ambitious, matching my 9 to 5 salary on something that is literally at zero right now within a year. It's ambitious, but we're going to have fun doing it. Mostly it's like, I just want to get out of my comfort zone. I would love to create content. I would obviously love to take this podcast and promote it a little bit more and push it out on social media more. So how am I going to do this? Well, I've got to grow my engagement first and foremost and the audience that I have there. I need to share more of me because people connect to authenticity, but also I have to get strategic in how I'm going to make that happen. I've got to get strategic in batch making content. I have to get strategic in using things like scheduler, scheduling things out and not just being like, oh, when inspiration strikes and when I feel like posting, I'll post it. No, I have to get smart of when things are going to work and even just getting stuff out there. You know what I mean? I just have to be consistent with it. So that is the professional goal. The passion goal is to finish my dang book. I've been wanting to write a book for a really long time, and I actually started it last year, put pen to paper or put fingers to keyboard, and wrote a lot last year. I'll be honest with you. It's not done by any stretch of the imagination. I still have a lot of work to do, and I even have new vision for it this year. So there's going to be a lot of rewrites and editing that happens this year. But I want to finish that dang book, and it would be so amazing if I could say that I've got a manuscript by the end of 2026. And that's going to happen by being consistent with it on a regular basis. So on the daily, I would love to keep inspiration, keep notes in my phone of, oh, that's a good topic. Oh, that's a good quote. Oh, that's a good thing to throw in. Oh, that's a good resource for me to use in my book. Just constantly keeping my mind open to what could work for the book. Scheduling library dates. I did this last year and it ended up working so well for me for most of the year. Then travel came around, things got busy, but I picked one Saturday every single month and that was my library day. And even the strategy in that time at the library had to be something that would be beneficial. So what I started doing is I said, okay, I'm going to the library at this time on Saturday, not brunching with my friends, going to the library with my laptop. And I'm going to put my phone on Do Not Disturb, but I'm also going to set a timer for an hour. And for that entire hour, we're doing nothing but writing. We're just putting stuff on the page. Similar to what we did last week with goal setting and with dreaming about what we want for our lives, I would just write the things that came to my mind. Not judging myself, not worrying if it's perfect sentence structure. It's just get stuff on the page so we have something to work with. So those are my those are my big three: my personal, my professional, and my passion goals for the year. I just want to be, open with you about what I'm working towards this year. Hopefully that makes you feel a little more comfortable about what you're working towards this year. Also, if these things happen this year, we'll be able to celebrate together, which I'm excited about. But again, just to recap what we're doing this week, we're just getting organized. We're focusing, we're honing in on what we want to do this year. So we're taking the big, beautiful thing that we created last week, this dream that we have for ourselves. We are going through and we are pulling out personal goals, professional goals, and passionate goals or passion goals. And then from those 3 categories, like think about them as like buckets, okay? Maybe you cut up your actual piece of paper that you wrote on last week and you put each thing into a bucket, okay? You got your personal, your professional, and your passion buckets. Fill those buckets up. From those buckets, however, you are going to find what matters most, whether it is an accumulation or a summation of everything that you wrote down in that category, or it's like, wow, all of this stuff is beautiful, but this one thing matters the most. Whatever it needs to be, just get it down to 1. Okay. From there, I think we'll dive into this next week because I feel like I'm getting a little long here with this episode. But next week, I think we need to talk about strategies for how we're going to accomplish these things. Spoiler alert, I think the biggest thing, like we talked about, is just starting with 1. Preferably like the easy one, get some momentum, get some confidence, build up a little bit of like can do it spirit before attacking some of the hard things. Okay. But yeah, I'm excited to hear what you come up with. I'm excited to see what you funnel down and figure out, what you condense this massive list down to when it comes to the big 3. I hope this has been helpful. For me, it's like, I love a good brainstorming session because there's stuff that I can work with. I hate staring at a blank page. So I hope last week was helpful for you. I hope this week is helpful for you to really pinpoint what matters most and even break it into categories just to keep yourself organized and you know what you're working for. You know what matters the most to you in some pretty important categories. I think ultimately when people do set goals and set resolutions for themselves, they're thinking about personal goals. They're thinking about things related to their profession or their job or their income. They're thinking of things that, spark a little joy in them, whether it's a hobby or a passion project or something like that. So I hope that all of this could be helpful for you. And yeah, let's dive into strategies and how to make all of this stuff happen as we move forward in the year. But I'm excited for you. I really, really am. So please feel free to share your big 3 with me if you want to on social media. You can find me at Miss Radio Jess, MISS Radio Jess. I'm on Instagram and Facebook primarily, so I would love to hear from you. You can share them in the comments or wherever, but let's get going on the year. It's about time, right? We've done so much work these last couple of weeks. I'll see you next week.